Founded in 1718 by the French, New Orleans quickly became the busiest slave port in North America. Thousands of enslaved Africans were sold on the docks and streets, fueling the city's wealth through brutal cotton and sugar plantations. The infamous Code Noir governed the lives of those held in bondage with extreme cruelty. Public whippings, brandings, and executions were common in what is now picturesque Jackson Square, once the site of punishments and captive auctions. Captive West Africans brought powerful spiritual traditions that evolved into Louisiana voodoo, blending Catholicism with African beliefs. Secret ceremonies were held in Congo Square, the only place where they could gather and drum. Plantation owners built grand mansions along River Road using forced labor. Places like Oak Alley and Laura Plantation hid horrific stories of abuse behind beautiful oak-lined avenues that still stand today. The 1811 German Coast Uprising saw hundreds of people held in bondage march toward New Orleans seeking freedom, brutally suppressed. Severed heads were displayed on spikes along the levee as a terrifying warning. Wealth from forced labor funded the elegant Creole townhouses and iron-lace balconies of the French Quarter, a stunning architectural legacy that masks the human suffering embedded in every brick and beam. New Orleans was born in exploitation and suffering, yet from these dark roots grew a uniquely vibrant culture, music, food, and spirit that continued to captivate the world behind the city's enchanting facade. Throughout the 19th century, New Orleans was repeatedly devastated by yellow fever outbreaks. The deadliest in 1853 killed nearly 10,000 people in a single summer, overwhelming the city with fear and bodies piling in the streets. Known as the Black Vomit disease, victims suffered agonizing high fevers, jaundice, and internal bleeding. Doctors were powerless, and entire neighborhoods emptied as residents fled or barricaded themselves indoors. Because of the high water table and frequent flooding, New Orleans could not bury bodies underground. Instead, above-ground tombs and cities of the dead were built, becoming the iconic walled cemeteries we see today. Cemeteries like Lafayette and St. Louis became vast necropolises filled with ornate marble tombs. Families reused vaults after a year and a day, pushing remains into ovens to make room for new burials. Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau, the most famous practitioner, was often consulted during epidemics. Legend says she nursed the sick and performed rituals in the cemeteries, blending healing with spiritual power. The constant threat of death shaped New Orleans culture. Lavish funerals with jazz bands evolved into joyful second lines, celebrating life, even as yellow fever claimed thousands year after year. These epidemics and unique burial practices left an enduring mark on the city, turning tragedy into architectural beauty and cultural resilience that still defines New Orleans' mysterious charm today. On August 29, 2005, Hurricane Katrina slammed into the Gulf Coast as a Category 5 storm before making landfall near New Orleans. Its massive storm surge overwhelmed the city's aging levees, causing catastrophic breaches that flooded 80% of the city in hours. Water rose rapidly to 20 feet in some neighborhoods, trapping thousands in attics and on rooftops. The Superdome and Convention Center became makeshift shelters for tens of thousands, but conditions quickly deteriorated into chaos and desperation. Over 1,800 people lost their lives across the region, with most deaths in New Orleans. Families were separated, homes destroyed, and the city's poorest communities suffered the greatest losses as floodwaters lingered for weeks. The federal response was widely criticized as slow and inadequate. Images of stranded residents waiting for days on highways and rooftops shocked the world, exposing deep social and racial inequalities in the city's infrastructure and emergency planning. More than 1 million people were displaced, creating the largest diaspora in U.S. history. Many never returned, but those who did rebuilt with remarkable resilience, elevating homes and strengthening levees for future protection. Katrina exposed New Orleans' vulnerability below sea level in its fragile wetlands, yet the disaster sparked massive engineering projects, including stronger flood walls and restored marshes that now better shield the city from storms. 2 decades later, Katrina's scars remain visible in some neighborhoods, but the city has risen stronger. Its unbreakable spirit, music, and community turned profound tragedy into a story of hope and rebirth that continues to define New Orleans today. The French Quarter, New Orleans' historic heart, is considered one of America's most haunted places. Countless ghost tours wind through its narrow streets, sharing tales of restless spirits from centuries of tragedy, epidemics, and mysterious deaths. The LaLaurie Mansion on Royal Street hides one of the city's darkest legends. In 1834, a fire revealed tortured captives in the attic of socialite Delphine LaLaurie, earning it the title of the most haunted house in New Orleans. Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau's supposed tomb in St. Louis Cemetery. No, one draws thousands, visitors mark 30 on the vault and leave offerings, believing her powerful spirit still grants wishes or curses from beyond the grave. Hotels like the Omni Royal Orleans and Bourbon Orleans are famous for paranormal activity. Guests report apparitions of Civil War soldiers, ghostly children playing in hallways, and unexplained cold spots in elegant rooms. The old Absinthe House and Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop, 2 of the oldest bars, host spirits of pirates and smugglers. Bartenders tell of glasses moving on their own and shadowy figures from Jean Lafitte's era lingering at the counter. Many believe the city's layered tragedies, from yellow fever to Katrina, have trapped eternal spirits in the French Quarter, creating a supernatural energy that blends fear with fascination and draws ghost hunters from around the world. Yet from centuries of tragedy, forced labor, deadly epidemics, devastating floods, and supernatural legends, New Orleans has risen time and again with unbreakable resilience, turning darkness into vibrant culture, music, and joy that captivate the world to this day.